3 weeks before I was set to get married, I was 23 years old. This is a conversation I had with my mother. Laugh? Ma, why you gotta laugh? Why does he have to make you laugh? Nina, if you don't marry him, there's going to be a line of putanas ready to get married. Trust me. You don't be so stupid, ma, please. That was what my mother said to me. You think you're going to do better than him? So, of course, at 23, I went forward and got married. But let's back step to when I met him, and I was in high school. I was 18 years old. We were that perfect high school couple. I was in all the sports. I was athlete of the year. So was he. I was valedictorian, and he was the 6'4", good-looking hunk of the school. And we were that couple. We went on to go to the University of Western Ontario, where he played for Western football. I was the homecoming queen. Like, are you ready to throw up? Because I am. We were that couple, like, throughout our entire life. We returned back to Thunder Bay, Ontario, where we kept up the societal facade, the societal perfection that we all wanted. It was like, I don't know if we ever really were in love, but we were in love with the idea of each other and what we wanted to build. So we started a family. We got married first, of course. Went through the marriage at 23, and then we started a family. By the time I was 30, we had 3 children. And that was a goal of mine. I always wanted to have all my kids by the time I was 30, and we did that. We started businesses together, and we created this life. We had the big house, 4-car garage, the 5 acres. We had it all on the outside. But inside, I felt so alone. It was so scary how alone I felt, because I was surrounded by people. I have this big Italian family, and I had everything that anybody would ever want on paper. I was living the life. But what I didn't have is a connection with my husband. And he never beat me, he never swore at me, he never yelled at me. It was like he was so indifferent to me. And I was very, very lonely. A few examples I can give to you. I mean, I would go grocery shopping, and women would stop me in the aisles and just say, "Oh, you're so lucky. You have such a nice husband, and he's so good looking." And I would get that all the time. And, you know, what my life really was like, you know, I was at home. I'd get ready to go to a wedding. We were Italian, so we had a lot of weddings. And I would get ready and wait for him to come home. And my son, who was young at the time, he's 22 now, but he'd come in the room and he'd say, "Oh, Mommy, you look like a princess." And I would feel so good. I mean, "Thank you, sweetheart." And I'd wait for my husband to come in. And when he did, he'd look at me, and I'd be waiting, and he'd say, "Do you know where my tie is?" "Your tie?" "Yeah, it's right over here." We would go driving on family trips, and we'd go for hours without speaking. We'd have 3 kids in the car, and I would speak to the kids, but he wouldn't speak to me. And one time, I actually tested it. And I sat there and said, "I'm going to see how long this is going to take." We drove from Thunder Bay to Minneapolis. It's a 7-hour drive. 2 hours into the drive, and I'm Italian, okay? I got a bit of a temper, I admit, and I'm not proud of it. We stopped for gas. And I literally almost ripped, actually I did. My daughter's in the audience. I did. I ripped the visor off the car, right off, because I was like, how are you not talking to me? How can you do that? So that was the disconnect we had. And I was so lonely. Nobody knew it. Anybody, I mean, we were so good at parties. We didn't fight. It was just, there was nothing there. I remember trying to talk to him over and over again, and I kept saying, "This is killing me. This is killing me. Why don't you let me go? Just let me go." Why did I need permission for him to let me go? But I did. Because everyone loved this man, and I was so afraid of what people would say. I had no excuse. I started wishing that he would cheat on me and have an affair on me. But I thought, there's no way this man's going to have an affair on me. I mean, I didn't think he could give that type of affection. And I was just so lonely. I remember reaching out to my brother and trying to tell him. And I said, "This is killing me. This is what's happening. I'm not happy." And the same thing that my mother said about 20 years earlier, He said, "Are you crazy? Women are going to be lining up for that guy. Like, don't make a big mistake, Nina." And so, of course, I stayed. I was too afraid to leave. I couldn't do it. I was hoping he'd do something so I had an excuse to leave him. Well, fall of 2011, 4741. That was the passcode of his phone. And don't judge me, because when you're desperate, you do desperate things, okay? I got the number to his phone. And then the funny thing is, I didn't even check his phone for 2 weeks, because I did not think this man could have an affair on me. And I was wrong. I found about 2 women, actually. And these were not one-night stands. These were affairs. And the funny thing is, this was my excuse. I could get out now, because I wouldn't be the bad one. And instead, I was devastated. How could he do this to me? How? And I think in my heart, I kind of wanted it all to work somehow. I left for 3 weeks, and then I took him back. He found God. What was I supposed to do? Like, this is going to be a new start for us. Well, I know why he came back. Because about 2 months later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, just like you. And I knew that's why I had to have him back in my life. So he did the obligatory, I can't even say the word, thing. All the obligations. He was there for me. He took care of my kids. But I stopped calling in being sick. I said, what have I done to myself? All the words that I said to myself, this is killing me. You're killing me. I felt like this rotting piece of fruit. This felt so sick. And I did. I called it in. I said, what have I done to myself? I had aggressive breast cancer that had spread to my lymph nodes. I got the diagnosis 2 days after my 40th birthday. This big celebration. And then this rocked my world and shattered me. Laying in my bed, I remember just looking at this chandelier. And I looked at it all the time. And I just said, wow, the world stops for no one. Everything's still going on around me. But I knew that I had to change. I knew that I had to change everything about the way I was speaking about myself. I had to stop giving other people power to judge me. I gave my power to everyone but myself. So then my dialogue changed. And I started to say, in the name of Jesus, I am healthy. I am healthy. I'm smart. I just started to change everything. When my daughter got accepted to the Etobicoke School of the Arts, I was over the moon. She's here today. I said, this is my excuse to get out of Dodge. So we did. As a family, we were going to start over in Toronto, all of us. So I moved with my daughters, and my husband stayed back with my son. Well, same thing happened, affair number 3. But this time, things were different. This time, I was courageous. I was in Toronto, I was feeling alive, and I moved forward. And my whole life changed. And I look back at having breast cancer that I feel that I really called in. And I just want to tell you, when you're not aligned with your heart, with who you are, if you don't have an alignment in your relationship, your body knows that. Your body feels that. Nothing feels right. Don't give your power to other people. Stand on your 2 feet, and I only wish for everyone that you can taste life, feel alive and taste it, and just be free. Thank you.